Bill Maher was on the Megyn Kelly show, and they discussed the Hamas protesters that are taking over America.
Let's talk about universities and Hamas and Israel, because I know you've been, I think, very strong on this issue.
Yes. We won't have to fight anymore.
So how do you, there's always common ground. How do you see, how did we get there, right? Where we've got people in the scarves with the Hezbollah and the Hamas flags chanting at Jews that they can't go to class.
Again, for people who say to me, you make fun of the left more than you used to. Yes, I do. First of all, I'm a comedian, and you're a lot funnier than you used to be. Not intentionally, but you are. Not just pregnant men and identity politics and oversensitivity and victim culture and cancel culture. There's lots of funny stuff. But if I ever needed a reason or a rationale for making the case that the left has changed, it would be this. The fact that they're now marching for the terrorists, really?
Right.
The people who see themselves as the most liberal people in the world, the social justice warriors, are standing with some of the most illiberal people in the world. I mean, I'm going to do my next editorial I'm going to do when I get back to work at my day job is about, look, kids, I know you're looking for a cause, and that's admirable that kids want to have a cause. I got one for you. Women around the world, especially in Muslim-majority countries.
Yes.
Hamas, I mean, really, you're marching for Hamas? Do you know that there are no equal rights for women as regards almost everything you can imagine? Speech, voting, free movement, divorce, property rights, freedom from sexual harassment, freedom from sexual violence. I mean, every possible thing that is a left-wing cause, they violate. But those are the people we want in charge. Those are the people we want to control from the river to the sea. Even the people, of course, under the rule of Hamas hate them. It's a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah.
It's a fascist dictatorship. It's worse. It's a fascist dictatorship with a hard right religious.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. In recent polls, I think 80% of Palestinians support Hamas. So it's less of a dictatorship, more of just a fucked up population that need to be re-educated.
Bent. It's like the worst of all worlds.
Well,
and those are your heroes.
That's right. And they're out there. I mean, it's gone beyond. Of course, they were praising, as you know, on TikTok, the bin Laden letter and doing the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. These are people who are, probably in Catholic Mass for most of their formative years, or Christian Mass. Now they're down on the prayer rug, having absolutely no idea. If you move to one of those countries where that's practiced in the Middle East, they're going to mutilate your genitals. You'll say goodbye to sexual pleasure, because that's what the people you're praying to push. Just ask Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who I know you know. Yeah.
I saw the funniest meme. It was 2 panels, and the top one, it said, queers for Palestine, because they have that banner.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
And on the bottom, it's a guy getting thrown out the window, Palestine for queers. Right out the window.
Well, I pulled this clip because it turned out to be a very famous clip. And Sam Harris is in it. Ben Affleck is in it. The one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, from 2014, I think. Yeah,
it went totally viral, and as usual on a lot of these issues, we were ahead of the curve in sort of identifying. No, there's actually a problem here that we're not acknowledging. I'm going to play it. Watch it.
We have been sold this meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
Right.
And that is it's intellectually ridiculous. Even it gets.
So hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're the interpreter of that, so you can say, well, this is.
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those stateless, shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to what we are saying.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the mother lode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have.
That was amazing television. Sam Harris was totally right.
Yeah, and it is about ideas. And again, this is one of the big problems with the left today, is they see race in everything. So, you know, nothing ever, and again, as the guy who was trying to like be the common sense person in the middle, just speak for the normies, everything, I think, to a lot of people strikes it the way it strikes me, as we start with one thing, this idea over here, and then we're all the way on the other side over here. In this issue, of course, you know, as we were saying over there are people who are bigoted, and that's wrong. And of course, it's great that we got more impatient with racism in this country. That is the appropriate response I think we should have toward racism, being impatient with it. And then it goes all the way to, and no one who is a person of color can ever do anything wrong.
I think the problem with the left is that they've sacrificed the truth for kindness, in that you don't look at a situation objectively. You can't say the truth, because the idea that you could hurt someone's feelings by saying the truth is unacceptable on the left, on the radical left. So they look at it like the truth is here, and, you know, someone's feelings are here, and we'd rather just avoid hurting the person's feelings and lie and not hurt someone's feelings. That's what the left is about.
How you get, we don't talk about China.
Yeah.
North Korea starves its people. China puts the Uyghurs in concentration camps. The president of Burundi was on the front page of the New York Times a month ago saying we should march the gays into football stadiums and kill them for just being gay. Boko Haram captures entire villages of children, but none of these crimes are coming from white people. So crickets, really, kids? Nothing? No marching for against any of this?
You raised this point in the book too, and I thought it was a really good one, about how when we do our, look back at history, only the whites get excoriated for their bad behavior 200 years ago. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Genghis Khan was pretty rough. Talk about colonizers. I think 11% of certain, was it the whole Earth, or maybe it's just Asia?
I think it's the Earth. Like a descendant?
Descendant from Genghis Khan, because he colonized a lot of vaginas. I mean, look, it was a different era. There's a couple of really funny editorials, essays in that book about time, and the idea that the woke have this crazy idea that, people who lived 500 years ago really should have known better.
Yeah.
They have this magic moral time machine where they imagine what they would be doing in 1758, and it's always better than what
And it wouldn't have been using the term master bedroom.
No. That's another thing, yes.
Right?
And again, that's another point I'm always trying to make, is that the difference between old school liberals like me and the woke is things like that. People, I think, have this idea that wokeness is an extension of liberalism, and it very often is something that goes so far, it actually turns around and becomes the opposite.
Yes.
You know what my problem with Bill Maher is that he sees the truth, and yet he's not able to call it the left for what it is. The left is woke. The entire left is turning more and more woke every year. There's no middle ground anymore. In a couple years, Bill Maher is going to be considered far right, and they're moving the flagpole every single year. To be woke, you have to accept. Used to be you have to accept the gays. Now you have to accept the transgender. Now you have to accept anyone. You have to accept murderers and rapists. So as time goes on, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.